Alrighty, so I think we'll get started here. And so my name is Karen Wong. I'm the workshop's chair for Impact 2023. And so today with us, we have 4 other members of my committee, and I'll have them each just briefly introduce themselves when they do speak throughout this workshop tonight. But we'll kind of be going over just, what it looks like to be developing a workshop proposal and submitting that to Impact, some of the things that we're looking for as the workshops committee. And we'll have time at the end for Q&A, and we are also looking to maybe split up into some breakout groups or just have some more personalized conversations if you have specifics towards maybe a topic or anything like that that you're looking for. So just kind of a layout of our night tonight, kind of the main things that we are looking to cover. So going over the outline and content, target audience, what that looks like, reviewing our impact mission and our values, learning outcomes of your workshop, experience and interest towards that topic that you are looking to speak about, some friendly reminders and tips for submitting a successful workshop proposal, and then our Q&A and breakout sessions at the very end. So kind of a pretty simple overview here, and we're looking to probably keep our workshop piece to about 20 minutes to 25 minutes or so, so that we'll have plenty of time for some more personalized Q&A and some breakout sessions as well to go over some things. And then feel free to chat in if you have any questions at a point in time, and we can review them during that Q&A. Otherwise, during the Q&A session, you'll be able to, again, chat in questions or unmute and ask them as well. So, all right. And I'll pass it over to Mike first.
Okay, thank you, Karen. So my name is Mike Rackett. I'm a faculty member at Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond. And just want to begin by a couple of reminders about the workshops and different options that you can take for approaching the workshops, and particularly as you're answering this question or providing an overview of your workshop for the audience that will be attending. So one reminder is that all the sessions are 75 minutes in length. So that's the time period you want to shoot for in terms of the things that you're going to do during the workshop. And workshops could be a combination of lecture or discussion or other kinds of activities. So one of the things that the proposal asks about is sort of your anticipated percentage of how much of the time is going to be lecture and how much is going to be interactive, I believe, are the 2 choices on that. And it's not that we're looking for a particular blend or a particular ratio of those percentages, but that's more for you to think about how you want to divide up the time. And that's one of the things that we'll be looking for, is that you have a clear idea of how you're going to use the 75 minutes. And particularly if you're going to do some sort of interactive activity, that you describe how you expect that to go, whether that might be a small group discussion time, whether that might be some kind of individual activity that people do and share out, but that you are thinking about how you're going to use the time and what exactly you would do with any time that's designed for discussion or lecture, things of that sort. The other thing to remind you is that you can have a variety of numbers of presenters. So you certainly are welcome to submit a proposal to present by yourself on a particular topic. You're also more than welcome to have a co-presenter, 2 people to sort of split the time. Or even if you have an entire organization or a team that wants to participate in presenting the workshop, you can include all of them in the presentation of the workshop itself. What we would ask on the application, however, is that there's an opportunity for the lead person to put in their contact information and affiliation. There's a question that asks about whether there's a co-presenter. And so if you have one other co-presenter, you can certainly choose yes for that and put in that person's contact information as well. If you have more than 2 presenters, say a team of folks, for the application, or at least that part of the application, if you would simply include the 1 or 2 people that you want to be the contact folks for us as we are corresponding back and forth about the proposal and about the workshop if it's accepted. So in the section that asks about the bio for different presenters, you could put multiple people in there, but there's only the opportunity to list 2 co-presenters in the application itself. And certainly don't want folks to submit, multiple applications from different presenters for the same workshop and so forth. So we just encourage you to have a primary contact person or pair of contact people that you can put into the form to be the ones that will correspond with us about the process. You'll see on the slide here, there's a link when you get the slide deck itself for a collection of previous workshop titles and tags. To the extent that the titles help you, they might give you a little bit of information about the kinds of things that people have presented on before and how they associated them with different tags in the list that you're asked to choose from in the application. So we will try to drop that into the chat for this meeting as well if you want to pull that up. There are 4 different tabs with several years worth of titles and tags on them for that. So if we can advance to the next slide. So as part of the outline and content part of the proposal, it does ask you to choose some tags or areas that you think your workshop topic is associated with. And these are basically driven from previous examples. So this is not an exhaustive list or an exclusive list. But if you can choose maybe 1 or 2 that you think your proposal topic aligns with, and if it doesn't fit any of these, there's down at the bottom, there's an other category that you're certainly welcome to suggest a tag or a topic that you think is more appropriate to your particular topic. So I will now, I think, pass over to Alan to talk about thinking about your target audience.
Great, thanks, Mike. Hi, everyone. My name is Alan Barnhart. I'm in admissions at Columbia University in New York City. Glad to have you all here with us this evening. So as you prepare your workshop, you'll need to take into consideration who your target audience is. So we have a list of our primary attendees for the Impact Conference here: undergraduate students, graduate students, faculty, professional staff from universities, and community organizers. So as you if I were to present, my approach in developing a workshop would be very much dependent on who I wanted to target. I may not emphasize the same aspects of my research or experiences the same for every type of audience. So for instance, maybe faculty and graduate students are more interested in learning about your research methodology or data collection methods, more so than like a community organizer might be. So think about those types of things when you're answering this question. And then we have 3 questions here that we also want you to reflect on. Who might be interested in your topic? Who has experience with your topic? And who might not know about your topic, but you think they should? So when you're thinking about who might be interested, consider who is this topic important or relevant to, and why? So for instance, when I was in graduate school, my thesis was about the difficulties that low-income parents face with regard to being involved in their children's education. So this topic was certainly relevant to many community organizations, especially if they were focused on education or families. And maybe at face value, not so much to university faculty or staff. But if I were to connect parental engagement in high school to something like college access or college success, then it becomes much more relevant to university professionals. So sometimes thinking outside the box is really helpful when you're thinking about your target audience and who's attending. Also, when you formulate your workshop, it's important that you consider your audience's level of knowledge and experience with the topic. Who has experience with it, and how detailed or broad do you want your presentation to be? It's good to find, obviously, a balance somewhere between being too general and lacking depth in your workshop, but also not using too much jargon that many attendees may not understand. So you have to ask the question, how much do they already know? I would not want to assume that university staff knows what, in my instance, parental engagement consists of. So I'd want to explain the concepts, explain some of the theory, explain some background, but obviously not give them a complete rundown of my paper, right? And then the last point I just want to briefly make is the importance of addressing what your target audience wants to get out of the workshop. So make sure you're thinking about this. This is an incredible opportunity for you to share your experiences and your knowledge on a topic. But is your workshop going to have a key takeaway or a call to action for attendees? If so, how is this relevant to your target audience? So just be thinking about this as you brainstorm ideas. What should the audience be taking away from your presentation? We can go to the next slide.
Hi, so my name's Sierra. I'm a graduate student, and I was actually in your shoes. I was a workshop presenter 2 years ago, and I've been on the workshops committee. This is my second year now. So we've talked a bit about your target audience. So now we're moving on to the question on how will your workshop align with Impact's mission and values. If you've ever presented at a conference before, you know there's a variety of conferences. So we're really looking at understanding why your workshop fits in with Impact's conference in particular. So some ways you can go about answering this question is thinking and reflecting about why would the audience at Impact specifically care or be interested in your topic. So a way of going about this is you can find this on Impact's website or on the following slide, but you want to look at Impact's mission and vision and values and see how your workshop ties those together and interweaves those concepts. You don't have to meet each and every single value, of course, but you want to try to align as best as you can to the mission and values and what really brings folks to Impact each year. If we go to the next slide. Okay, so you'll find this on our website as well, but it's listed here nicely for you. So this is Impact's vision, mission, and core values. I will not read through them. I'll give you time to read through them on your own. But for example, last year, I remember going to a really wonderful workshop that was talking about addressing the prison industrial complex. That's a great topic. And if you were perhaps presenting that topic, a way to tie that together is really emphasizing how that would be a social change movement and highlighting aspects of advocacy and action in pursuit of social justice. And that would be a really great answer to this question and really highlighting why our audience at Impact would be interested in attending your workshop, excuse me. Again, you don't have to meet each and every single core value. Like Alan mentioned, we have a lot of different folks who attend the conference, like community organizers who might not be students, but it's great to hit as many as you can and interweave them into your workshop. And I'll pass it on to Karen to go over the learning objectives or outcomes.
Yeah, so the learning outcomes is going to be centered on the question that we have in our proposal briefly lists learning outcomes you expect attendees to learn from this session. And so what we're particularly looking for are, what learning outcomes are relevant and achievable for your topic within the time frame allowed. So that 75-minute workshop time block, and that makes sense for what you are looking to teach. So you want to be looking at identifying, what takeaways are your attendees walking away with? And does that mean their physical, skills? Is it knowledge or data? So, like Alan Remfris, like, is it pertaining to maybe a thesis or research that you have done? And so you actually have hard data, numbers and graphs and tables, and those are the types of things that you're looking at your attendees, and that's what they want to learn from your topic. Next steps, are they things that you are teaching your attendees to walk away with and be able to do something in their work? So take it back to their organizations or their school or wherever they may be coming from, or their community, and be able to do something that is directly coming from something that you talked about during your workshop, and they were able to come up with those ideas during that time. And then the other possibility, reflection. Are you teaching someone and like letting them reflect on the opportunities and experiences that they have had in the hopes that they are able to take that further or move forward using that knowledge. And those are just some of the options, but those are some of the ones that we have seen in the past. So it's just some ideas in order to be able to kind of help you develop the idea of what we are looking for when we ask for your learning outcomes. And so we'll be passing this on to Rachel.
I am muted. Hi, my name is Rachel, and I'm going to talk a little bit about experience and interest. So we've touched on a lot of things that are included in your workshop, and you may either feel like I'm really ready to present something, I have some information, or you're thinking, do I have the information I need to be able to present? And what we're really trying to get at with this is just to get a sense of what your experience is with the topic that you're hoping to present. And there are a lot of things that we value in what people are going to be sharing. Since we are a workshop or a conference that really focuses on volunteering, we want to hear about your experiences doing that in your own communities. But we're also interested in information you've learned that you want to share to other folks. Obviously research, but it can both be really formalized research that you've done, through a course, through a very serious paper you've written, but also informal research. There's a lot of great work and a lot of information that really moves social justice forward just by information that you've collected from informally doing research. And then we have also other life experiences. So we really are hoping to bring a lot of folks from a lot of different backgrounds into the Impact Conference to share from their own experiences and things that they've been through. We really want to value that kind of work in the presentations that we have at the conference. And so when you're answering this question, just tell us a little bit about why you've chosen the topic and how it relates to the experience you have. It isn't about being, the most qualified person to talk about it. It's just somebody who's able to talk about it and share it with people from your own experience, from things that you've been through, and maybe your own personal identities. There are a lot of ways in this, but you'll have the option to share a little bit with us so that we can hear a little bit more from you. And next slide.
All right, so we'll conclude the information part of the session with just a couple of encouragements and reminders about proposals. So for one thing, as I mentioned at the beginning, we're really looking for proposals that show that you have a plan, that you know how you're going to present things, that you know how the session is going to go, how you want to use the time, what types of interactive activities you're going to do. And so that you can conceive that and then explain it to us in a way that we can understand sort of how that we could envision with you how that session is going to go when you lead it. To what Rachel just said, you may not consider yourself an expert on the topic, but you, because of your life experience, because of the formal, informal research you've done, because of other things that have introduced you to a particular topic, you might actually know more about that topic than a lot of other folks that might be attending the conference, or at least some other folks, or the people that might be interested in coming to your session because they haven't met this topic before. And so I think part of the challenge, both for the proposal and for the actual workshop itself, is that you make sure that you can explain your topic to a non-expert, that if you have particular experience in an area or research in an area and have learned particular terminology or particular theories or particular approaches, that you don't assume that we who are reading and looking at the proposals would automatically know what those terms mean or what those different approaches are. And that people that coming to your session, depending upon your target audience, might have different levels of engagement with those topics as well. So to be able to be as clear as possible in helping us understand what the topic is that you're going to be presenting or proposing to present, and also so that you can begin thinking about how you translate that to an audience that may not be as familiar with your particular area as well. As Surat said, we're looking for alignment with impact, mission, and values. And so just to keep that in mind again, and we'd encourage you not to be afraid to be unique or different or think outside the box, whether that's in terms of topic, whether that's in terms of the approach that you might take with the interactive parts of the workshop. but to think of ways that are going to be different experiences for participants and are going to allow them to engage your topic in ways that help you achieve the learning outcomes that you have in mind for your particular topic. And as we talked about, we'll have a little bit of time in the Q&A, and if we divide into breakout sessions, to ask if you have questions about whether a particular topic would be too different. The answer is probably no, but if you have questions about a topic or an approach, we can certainly address more specific questions at the end. And finally, just a couple of reminders on the last slide. To please observe the word limits. We don't know how many proposals we'll be receiving and reading through and evaluating, but that will help us both to work through that and also to keep it fair in terms of the amount of information that different presenters put in their proposals. Again, the deadline to submit a proposal is 11:59 on November 4th. And the link for the proposals is on the Impact website under the area that talks about the questions for the proposal. And if you have any questions after this session, please feel free to email us at the workshops subcommittee about workshops@impactconference.com.
And it's actually .org. I just noticed that error. So it's impactconference.org, not .com. So we'll make that change. Awesome. So, we'll open it up for the general Q&A. And then it does look like that we don't have too large of a group of folks tonight. So what we'll do is we'll hold a general Q&A session right now, and then we'll actually stop the recording after that general session, and then we'll allow space for the specific questions if you have about your particular topic idea or anything to do with your specific proposal. We'll save that for later, just for any privacy or anything like that reasons, just because we will be sending out the video to folks so that they have that to reference. So feel free to chat in the box or anything like that if you have any questions. Otherwise, you're also welcome to unmute and chat. And I see is that Julian has a raised hand.
Hi, yeah, this is Julian from University of Connecticut. So thinking about having an interactive session, thinking of the spaces that are allocated to us, how much space, how big are the rooms, how much are we able to move around in the space?
Definitely, yeah. So for the most part, we're probably going to be looking at pretty classic like discussion classroom style at a college, university. Just an average style discussion classroom size. So nothing too large, but also not too cozy. But if you do have anything in particular that you're thinking about, we do have on our very last question, I believe, on our proposal form, it does ask for any other considerations or anything like that. So just be sure that if you are thinking about the fact that you might need a slightly larger space, definitely put that in, and we can do our best to try to accommodate that.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Any other questions at all? Thank you, Jenna. Jess, would you be able to stop the recording? That way, if any folks have specific